Hi, welcome to Rise Above with Girls on the Run of Dayton, presented by Dayton Children's Hospital. My name is Christine Selman. I'm a member of the Board of Directors for Girls on the Run of Dayton, and I will be your host today. Today's event is Girls on the Run of Dayton's primary fundraising event of the year. Previously, we have come together in person, shared a nice meal in one of Dayton's wonderful event venues, and enjoyed not only inspiring programs, but one another's company. The last time we hosted our fundraiser in person was March 5th, 2020. It was a beautiful evening at the Schuster Performing Arts Center. Girls on the Run of Dayton celebrated our 10-year anniversary of serving young girls in the greater Dayton area, and we raised more than $60,000. Thanks to the generous businesses that sponsored us and individuals like yourself who attended, bought raffle tickets, and offered gifts of your own. Then, as you well know, everything changed. Within weeks, schools temporarily closed, and we temporarily suspended our programming for the spring season. Ultimately, students did not return to school in person that year, and we could not return to serving our girls that season, which was our biggest season to date, with 700 girls participating. Since then, like all of you, Girls on the Run of Dayton has been focused on rising above new challenges. In support of that, we've had 3 business objectives. First and foremost, serve. Serve every girl who wanted to and could participate. While there's been far fewer girls than we were used to serving in a year, we have worked with every school and community organization that could offer our programming, and we have served every girl who has signed up. Our second objective has been to sustain our organization, to ensure that we remain viable, strong, and present to continue serving well into the future beyond today's limitations. Next week, we will kick off our spring 2022 season, serving nearly 300 girls, which is about the total number of girls we served in all of fiscal year 2021. And finally, our third objective has been to adapt the way we deliver programming to ensure it is safe and accessible, and adapt the way we do business and raise funds to support our business. So here we are, launching in. While we are now seeing so many encouraging signs that we can safely come together in person again, we were not able to reliably plan to do so for today's event. But I think you'll still find the programming inspiring. I hope you have a good lunch in front of you. There's raffle prizes to win, including a 50-50 cash opportunity. And of course, we're hoping you'll make a donation. Girls on the Run is needed more than ever, and your support is more important than ever. No gift is too small, and every gift stays right here in Dayton to ensure that every girl who wants to participate in Girls on the Run can do so regardless of her family's ability to pay. To help you understand what you're giving to, we have this short video to share with you to get us started.
Remember me? I'm the one who listened when I was told to be quieter. Who smiled more when I was told to be nicer. To want less. To earn less. To be less. I didn't know that instead of deciding who I would become, I would be told how to be. I'm still listening, so tell me, who will I be? Will I be who the world expects me to be? Or will I be who I am? Will I quiet my voice, or will I face my fears? Will I shrink on the sidelines? No, we will run.
We will run harder towards our dreams. We will run down our self-doubt. We will run to our sisters' sides. We will run for office, run for joy, run for life.
I will not be a number on a scale, on a class rank, or on a paycheck. I will be a daughter, a granddaughter, a friend, a student of life, an agent of change, a force of nature.
And when someone tries to tell us that we can't, that we're just girls, we'll tell them that we're so much more. We're girls on the run.
Girls on the Run was founded in 1996. Over the course of the past 26 years, it has established councils in every state in the country and served more than 2 million girls. Girls on the Run of Dayton has now been serving Clark, Greene, Miami, and Montgomery counties for 12 years and reached more than 6,000 girls so far. There is no better person to explain what Girls on the Run is or why it's important than the amazing Molly Barker, our founder. Molly used her background in social work, counseling, and teaching to develop the Girls on the Run program. If you've met her or heard her speak before, you know how special she is. I could sing her praises, but I think the way her daughter Helen explains what Molly does and who she is tells it perfectly. Helen says, "My mom listens and loves people for her living." Here's Molly.
Hi there. My name is Molly Barker, and I am the founder of Girls on the Run International. And I am happy to report that I am still very much alive. I say that because I started the program 26 years ago, 27, gosh, in 1996. And it was a couple years ago during this month, Women's History Month, that a young girl in the program wrote an essay about the not dead founder of Girls on the Run. And I just will always kind of chuckle at that the program's been around long enough that many of the girls can't believe that the founder is still around. So here I am, and I'm so pleased to be speaking with you in Dayton, Girls on the Run of Dayton, to celebrate International Women's Day. And it is a time to celebrate. A lot of good stuff has happened for women over the last several years, and we still have a long way to go. I've been thinking about the message or the sort of mantra of today's event, which is to rise above or rise up. And I wanted to leave with you words that would go with rise for each letter. And so I wanted to start with R, which is about run. And so much of what I believe Girls on the Run has done and continues to do is to redefine what running and athleticism and sports means for young girls. It's amazing when I look back at where we started Girls on the Run, and the emphasis at that time was so much on weight and appearance rather than strength and athleticism. And I'm just so pleased to see how the paradigm has shifted and the messaging has shifted. And even the way women are working out and showing up at the gym has shifted. You know, it's no longer about appearance. It's more about performance and feeling strong and feeling healthy. And I really believe that Girls on the Run has had a significant impact on the power of running, the message that running can give us about having courage in our bodies and setting goals, autonomy, this is my body and I am in charge of it, and I will respect it and take care of it. And it is strong and I am strong. So that's one way I really believe Girls on the Run has had a huge impact in the sports world. The second is I, and that word is inspiration. And the other thing that I've learned over the last 26 or 27 years is that every single girl and coach and person involved in Girls on the Run has a story a story of rising up, a story of overcoming, a story of courage and kind of addressing their fears. It's a big deal when you're 8 years old to cover a 3.1 mile course, but it's representative of so much more. If I can do this, what else can I do? And to set those goals and to go for it. And these stories are so inspirational. So I encourage you, if you've never been to a Girls on the Run 5K, please go. Please go. You will hear stories and meet people who have literally had their lives changed. And their stories are so inspirational. And in hearing them, I feel changed every time I go to one of those events. The next is S, and that is support. And that is one of the core foundations of Girls on the Run. It is in our core values that we will stand up for ourselves and others. And this is what I believe has transformed the society and the culture for women over the last 26 years. We've no longer stayed quiet about some of the abuses and the atrocities that have, we've sort of tolerated over generations before. And so now with we're supporting each other. And that's something I love about Girls on the Run. It's also created a paradigm shift in competition. The world has, before Girls on the Run, been so driven by competition, and now it's more about supporting each other. There's no reason that I need to claw my way over someone else in the business world. Rather, I can lift up or carry with or go forward with my fellow females. So I believe that rising up, and part of that is supporting one another. And then the last, which is something you will witness whether you go to Girls on the Run, a group, go to an office, go anywhere related to Girls on the Run, is this insane enthusiasm. I remember once we were at a Girls on the Run summit, and we were in an elevator. There were probably 5 of us Girls on the Run folks in an elevator, and another person got on the elevator and said, "What is this? Like, I can feel the energy of your group throughout this whole hotel." And I was like, that's Girls on the Run. So what we do with passion and enthusiasm. And that is part of what makes the program so contagious. It's like once you've tasted it, you will want to stay involved in some way, shape, or form. And so let me just say those again. Run, inspirational, support, and enthusiasm is what Girls on the Run is about. I want to thank all of you for attending today. I would love to hear from you ever, so my email is mollybarkerconnects@gmail.com. I'd love to hear your stories of how you got involved, and just want to thank everyone at Girls on the Run of Dayton for continuing to make this program come alive for the girls in their community and the coaches and the supporters. So thank you, and happy International Women's Day.
Thank you, Molly. I'd now like to introduce Julie Cannon from Dayton Children's Hospital, who is going to honor a Girls on the Run of Dayton alumni. Julie, over to you.
Hi, my name's Julie Cannon, and I'm the Brand Engagement Manager with Dayton Children's Hospital, and it is our honor to be associated with Girls on the Run of Dayton again this year. We believe that programs like Girls on the Run help promote healthy women who not only are active, but know how to be mentally sound and stable. It is my honor this year to present a new award, the Limitless Award, to an alumni of Girls on the Run of Dayton, my friend Star. Star, it is my honor to present you with this beautiful award.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Star, tell me about how you first got associated with Girls on the Run of Dayton and your career with the program.
I started Girls on the Run in 4th grade. I was new to the school, and I'm kind of shy person. So my mom found the program, and she got me into it. And from there, it changed me as a person a whole lot, because at first, like I said, I was very shy, and now I'm more outgoing. Girls on the Run has helped me with my self-confidence and how to stay out of drama, and just with a lot of life lessons and situations. Right now, I have my own business and I help girls my age try to learn the importance of self care just like Girls on the Run did.
That's awesome, Star. Thank you for all you're doing to help pay everything forward that you learned from Girls on the Run of Dayton. We're so proud of you.
Thank you.
Before we begin our panel discussion today, on behalf of all of us at Girls on the Run of Dayton, I want to thank Julie and everyone at Dayton Children's Hospital for presenting today's event and for your long-standing commitment to and partnership with Girls on the Run. We are so fortunate to have an organization like yours in our community, and we're proud to be working beside you to improve the health and safety of families now and into the future. Thank you. We'd also like to recognize Nordstrom Films for producing today's event, enabling us to present the highest quality program possible. Now, on to our panel discussion. Before we speak to our panelists from Dayton Children's Hospital, it's my pleasure to introduce you to another one of our future female leaders and a Girls on the Run alumni, Ava. I have a few questions for you, but first, Ava, I'd like to introduce you. How old are you?
I'm 11,
And what grade are you in?
5th grade.
And what's your favorite subject in school, and why is it your favorite?
I like PE because you can run around and do like active stuff.
So you like to be active.
Yeah.
Okay. What is your favorite thing to do when you're not in school?
I like to do Girls on the Run, and I do archery.
Archery. That's fun. Are you good?
Yeah.
You can hit the bullseye?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to ask you a question that's a little more serious, but I know we've checked with you before we started taping, and you said you were okay for us to ask you this. So I'd like for you to explain how you felt the last couple of years when COVID has affected whether you could go to school and do other things. How has that made you feel?
Well, we were doing Girls on the Run and the school shut down, so we couldn't do it anymore. And that was kind of upsetting to me because I like Girls on the Run.
You like Girls on the Run? And what do you like about Girls on the Run? What was it that you felt like you were missing because you couldn't do it anymore?
Well, you just get to have fun, and you don't do like you run, but you also can do things that like Miss Bowling does stuff like to help yourself feel like good and she has like a packet you can do like that's like you do, and it's really fun. You can just do like other stuff on it, like how your day was or something, and then like how you can make it better.
So you can answer questions and draw pictures and, just kind of work out how you feel about things through those exercises that are in the packet. Is that what you're talking about? Okay. So how are you feeling now that you're back in school and, things are more normal? How are you feeling?
Pretty good. You don't have to wear a mask anymore, which is pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I agree. It fogs up my glasses when I wear my mask. So, okay, let's talk a little bit more about Girls on the Run. How many times have you participated?
3 years.
3 years. So did you start in the 3rd grade?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Okay. And are you participating this season? Are you going to participate starting next week? Oh, wonderful. Yeah. That's fun. I'm coaching this spring, so I'm super excited. Okay, so before you started participating in Girls on the Run, did you run a lot?
Yes.
You did. You were already a runner.
Yeah, okay. I just run around like on our sidewalks and stuff.
Okay, great. Good for you. And why did you choose to join Girls on the Run? Was it because you wanted to do more running, or you wanted to meet new people, or what was it that made you decide to join?
Um, I just wanted to have a place to run around with other girls
Mhm.
and like make new friends at the school. So,
Nice. So, what did you think at the beginning of your first season when your coaches told you you were going to run a 5K or 3.1 miles at the end of the season? Did that sound like easy or hard, or did it make you nervous? How did you feel when they told you that?
I was excited because I asked if it was going to be a race, and they said it's just to have fun. So you don't have to race, but if you want it to be a race, you can just do whatever you want it to
You
do.
can go at your own pace.
Yeah.
Okay, so did you complete the 5K at the end of each of the seasons you've participated? Yeah. And was it hard?
Um, yes, it was the first one I've done.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you think you did it? Like, what did you do from the beginning of your first season till the time of the 5K that you think helped you be able to finish?
Well, we did a like practice one, just like to do it like you would walk and then like run a little bit, and we just ran like around like the neighborhood kinda, and we like were practicing.
So that gave you a good feel for what to expect on the actual day.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And how did you feel when you completed the actual 5K with all of the people there?
I was pretty excited.
Yeah. Did it make you feel good about yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to talk about one last thing, and that is having fun. At the end of every Girls on the Run lesson, there is a group cheer. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Like when we all get together and stuff.
Yeah. And what do we say?
Oh. Oh yeah, we say girls on the run is so much fun.
Okay. So it's good to have fun, right? What do you like to do for fun? You told us you like to do activities and be with your friends, like and you play archery or practice archery is probably the right way to put it. But what other things do you think are fun?
Um, when I'm not doing any of those things, I like to play with my dog, and I like to color because it's calming, and I like to listen to.
Oh, all good things, art and music, and I think animals are the best. Um, okay, well, this has been really fun for me to talk to you, and I really appreciate you agreeing to do it and being so brave to talk to someone you don't know very well and be recorded and let other people see it. Really, that's not easy to do, and you've done a wonderful job. So thank you, Ava.
You're welcome.
Okay, so now I'm going to introduce our panelists from Dayton Children's Hospital. They are Dr. Mary Beth DeWitt, Chief of Child Psychology at Dayton Children's Hospital and Clinical Assistant Professor at the Wright State University School of Professional Psychology. Maria Scarvuzzo, a registered and licensed dietitian at Dayton Children's, and Dr. Sarah Stewart, an attending pediatric orthopedic surgeon at Dayton Children's and a member of the board of directors for Girls on the Run of Dayton. I talked to them recently and we covered a number of fundamental and important topics about caring for and developing our children. These topics range from the 7 C's of resilience, the benefits of emphasizing mastery over performance, what we as adults can do to help kids view food as fuel, and what we can do to empower our kids to talk about how they're feeling. And finally, we talked about having fun. I think we all can agree that we need more of that. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Thank you.
You're welcome. welcome.
So now I'd like to introduce our panelists for today, starting with Dr. Mary Beth DeWitt, Chief of Child Psychology at Dayton Children's Hospital and Clinical Assistant Professor at the Wright State University School of Professional Psychology. Maria Scavuzzo, a registered and licensed dietitian at Dayton Children's Hospital. And Dr. Sarah Stewart, an attending pediatric orthopedic surgeon at Dayton Children's and a member of the board of directors for Girls on the Run of Dayton. Welcome and thank you for being here. Today, we want to talk about how we can help our kids like Ava and even ourselves as adults rise above challenges, whether they be major challenges that affect many of us in many different ways, like a global pandemic, or seemingly minor challenges that may be more personal in nature, such as disappointment over a grade on a test or feedback we receive at work. Dr. DeWitt, I'd like to start with a subject that's getting a lot of airtime these days, resiliency. Can you help us all understand what resiliency is by definition?
Sure, absolutely. By definition, excuse me, resiliency is our capacity to recover quickly from those adversities and those challenges that you mentioned earlier. And it can be a strength in all of our coping and our tools of moving forward in a world full of challenges and adversities that we may experience. I like to think of it as our ability to bounce back when confronted with an obstacle in our lives.
And is it something we're inherently born with, or can it be learned or nurtured?
I think we are all wired to cope with things differently, and we all come to the world with our own strengths and weaknesses on how we respond and adapt and adjust to situations. But absolutely, we can learn and nurture these skills in all of us and in every individual so that we can improve our resiliency and ability to bounce back.
When I was researching for this panel, I came across the 7 C's of resilience. And they're very similar to what we call the 5 C's plus 1 that we teach at Girls on the Run. Our 5 C's plus 1 are competence, connections, character, contribution, care, and confidence. Can you talk about how skills like this lend themselves to resiliency?
Sure. We really focus on these 7 C's as areas that we can nurture and develop in all of us, again, as individuals. We all like a sense of control, which is one of the C's that we talk about. And having control, having that sense of control helps us develop some of those critical thinking skills and helps us understand and make sense of different situations based on that level of perceived control. Competence is how you feel you're able to manage the tools that you have, the frame of reference for success and development that you may have that helps shape future endeavors that you go into. If you have that sense of competence that you can handle one situation, it helps you feel more empowered and capable of handling other situations as you move forward. And we really do want to nurture our strengths and talents in those areas of competence. Confidence, they sound so much alike, but it's another tool that we have. If we feel confident in the endeavors that we deal with, we recognize our talents and we try new things because we feel comfortable with who we are and how we can try different things. We really want to encourage our youth and ourselves to engage in tasks to help facilitate and foster that confidence. One of the most important that I feel, as a psychologist, of course, is connection. Connection gives us that sense of belonging, that sense of community, that sense of security to be able to move forward in difficult situations and challenges. Character is our own self-awareness and our own moral and personal values. It defines who we are in many ways and helps us to enter into situations knowing who we are and having that awareness about ourselves. Coping is simply the tools that we use to help manage some of those situations. It's how we use some of those other C's that we talked about to use tools to manage those adverse situations that we may get into. And one of the most important that sometimes we forget about when we're talking about ourselves is contribution, giving to others. That sense of belonging and giving to others helps us to feel gratitude and achievement and connection as well. So all of those things work together to help us to cope, to be happy, healthy people.
That was a great summary. Thank you so much. Dr. Stewart, I'd like to move on and touch on the impact and importance of physical activity and athletics on a child's whole health. Research indicates that participating in athletics is good for kids. How is that?
Thanks for having me today. So we like to think about it more than just the physical health. Now that certainly is important. Physical activity, being active, getting exercise every day is important for our physical health. It helps with our bone health. It can help reduce fractures in our kids, but it's also good for heart health, healthy blood pressure. It can help prevent chronic diseases that we're seeing kids develop now in earlier and earlier ages. That includes diabetes, obesity, and heart problems as well. So it helps avoid those sort of things, both as a child, and it develops healthy habits so that they can prevent that in the future. And there's also evidence that shows being active in exercise and having fun, playing games, playing outside, and help decrease cancer risk. So that's very important for physical health, but there is even more mental health aspects to it. It can help kids sleep better. It can help them have better performance in school, better concentration, better self-confidence. That can translate into other aspects of their lives, and it can help them have less risk and less symptoms of anxiety and depression. And then playing games that are team sports, you have to learn how to work together. You have to be creative and learn how to work with the teammates so that you can achieve that common goal together.
Yep. All good points for kids and adults. But what about the kids who are not quote unquote athletes in the way our culture commonly defines an athlete? And some kids aren't even interested in sports. They're more interested in reading or art or science. At Girls on the Run, we focus on creating a mastery climate rather than a performance climate. Can you explain what that means and how we can make sports and team activities more inclusive and accessible so all kids can benefit?
Sure. I think this is kind of a difficult question, but the mastery kind of concept is that we want to emphasize personal improvement and personal effort. I would think of it more as like skill development rather than what's the score or who wins, who's the fastest, who's the strongest, versus a performance mindset is the focus on competition and comparison and who is the best at this or the best at that. So, I think that our society, we're kind of ingrained for that competition and comparison. I mean, parents compare their kids from the time they're born, and so it's really something that we all do. And it is very difficult when you have kids who have all different skill levels. Maybe some have a disability or they had an injury at some point and they can't perform that same skill at the same level. So to try to shift it and starting at an early age from, not that someone can't be a winner, but it's not all about winning. It's not all about the score. It's how, for Girls on the Run, when we do the 5K, most of the girls aren't going to run and not going to have a chance to win the 5K because we don't have a winner of the 5K. But where do they start and how can we get them to gradually improve and feel good about themselves that maybe they can only run 1 minute when they start the program, and by the end they can run 10 minutes, and then the accomplishment of getting to a whole 5K. I mean, 3 miles is a huge accomplishment for these girls, and so we need to celebrate that effort along the way and celebrate the accomplishment of finishing, but not necessarily that they have to win.
Yes, it's kind of a movement away from comparison, which we all know is like the thief of joy. And it starts very young, but even for us as adults, I know for me on a regular basis, I have to remind myself not to compare myself to others. And so very important for us to try and remember as we're coaching and caregiving for our children. Maria, I'd like to now talk about nutrition, specifically in the context of how it supports, again, a child's whole health, physical plus social and emotional. From your perspective, what impact does nutrition have on social emotional health, on a child's ability to do normal everyday things such as go to school, play, sleep, etc., and on their ability to be resilient?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I know I was really excited to do this. I ran cross country and track in college for Miami University of Ohio,
Wonderful.
and our team used to help out with Girls on the Run. So
Oh,
this is full
wonderful.
circle to now be able to
Yes.
kind of share the joy and the power of nutrition and fueling our bodies. So that's a great first question. One of the things, an analogy that we like to talk about is, think about our bodies like a car, right? We have to put fuel in our engine so that we're able to go each day, right? And this fuel or our energy, our nutrition is going to fuel us for these day-to-day life processes, right? Breathing, regulating blood pressure, heart rate, having mental acuity, being able to focus, and then again, getting into the day-to-day activities, whether that's going to recess, physical activity, our energy intake, that all takes energy. That's coming from the fuel that we're putting into our bodies. So I think understanding that nutrition, we want to fuel our bodies, but also we want to fuel our minds. So knowing that nutrition has a huge impact on our energy levels, a huge impact on our minds, and really is the driving force of the fuel for our bodies.
So what are some signs we should be aware of for when a child may not be fueling their body properly?
So one of the major things we want to think about is our body in an energy deficit where we're spending more energy than we're taking in. So being mindful that if that does occur, that puts us at risk for specific nutritional deficiencies, whether we're talking about an overall energy deficiency, which can then lead to nutrient and mineral deficiencies, which can be shown in physical signs in children, whether we're thinking about iron deficiency, for example, that can be reflected in fatigue. Again, our bodies are like cars. We have to put that fuel in our engine. If we don't have enough fuel in our engine, how are we going to be able to go, right? My car's not going to be working well. So whether that starts to show in fatigue, or we're not being able to focus well in school, or we're falling asleep, or we're just not really being able to be ourselves. So looking for irritability, those deficiencies, mood changes, whether we're having recurrent injuries, is there a nutritional link there that's going on? Slowed growth is another one. So huge impact there, and things that we really want to be mindful of as caregivers.
Yes, thank you. So do you have any tips, tricks, or resources you can recommend to caregivers who may have kids who are challenging eaters?
Yeah, so this is a really great question. One of the best resources and one of the things we like to talk about as dietitians is that eating is a learned behavior. So understanding that as a caregiver, we're role models for our children, and that, the eating habits that we do, all of that is learned, right? So from the minute that they're born into toddler, into, as they grow, they're watching, they're learning. We think about the division of responsibility, right? So when it comes to eating, caregivers role, we get to provide the food, we get to pick the mealtime, what we're having, and then the child's role is kind of to decide how much and what they're going to eat. So first, knowing that as a resource, as a caregiver, we're the role models. Additional resources just for nutrition in general, go into a registered dietitian. Dayton Children's has Nutrition Clinic, which is an amazing resource. And then also our background, our Center for Female Athlete for Nutrition Resources as well. So not hesitating to get in contact with a dietitian to review nutrition in general, whether it's picky eating, whatever it may be.
Okay, thank you so much. So Dr. DeWitt, I'm going to come back to you now because I'd like to talk more about behavioral and emotional health. There have been some concerning statistics out there about the state of mental health among our youth. The 2020 Dayton Children's Community Health Assessment reported that 27% of greater Dayton area children have had behavioral and emotional health difficulties. And just recently, the US Surgeon General issued an advisory to highlight the urgent need to address the nation's youth mental health crisis. And I think it's important to note in their advisory, it stated this crisis was spurred by the ongoing impact of the pandemic, as well as mental health challenges that existed long before the pandemic. The point being that mental health, behavioral and emotional health is not just a COVID issue that will fade away and no longer need to be addressed. It's an ongoing issue. And so I'd really like to talk about how on an ongoing basis we can care for the mental health of our children. And first, I'd like to just clarify, are behavioral and emotional health the same as mental health?
I consider mental health the same as behavioral and emotional health. What we understand about our bodies is that our thoughts, our behaviors, and our actions are all connected, and our minds and our bodies are connected. So when we talk about behavioral and emotional, we're really talking about our thoughts, our behaviors, and our actions. So yes, they are functionally the same. What we know about mental health is that 1 in 5 kids prior to the pandemic experienced mental health or behavioral health concerns. Since the pandemic, we have indicated that it's closer to 40%, so almost double the number of kids that may be experiencing a mental health crisis. The challenge is that many of these kids prior to the pandemic, up to 40% would be seeking help. So although 20% may have had a difficulty, only a small proportion of those kids were actually seeking and able to secure help in those situations. And since the pandemic, since we've had limited access to lots of things, some of those kids just aren't getting the support services that they need.
That brings me to, I think, an important question. How can we talk about mental health and encourage our kids to talk about mental health in a way that normalizes it and makes it less scary and overwhelming, both for the kids and the caregivers?
Maria mentioned that a lot of our learning starts at home, and regarding these discussions, that all starts at home as well. It's important to have conversations with our kids, with one another, about our thoughts and our feelings. It's important to make it a safe place to be able to talk about those things from an early age, that it's okay to be not okay sometimes, that it's okay to need that support and begin those conversations. So first, we have to empower one another to feel comfortable talking about that and to reach out to one another to talk about that. And then we have to be able to help them get support when it's okay and really decrease the stigma that sometimes is associated with mental and behavioral health concerns.
Are there particular groups of kids, whether it's ages, demographics, et cetera, that are more affected than others? Or are you seeing these challenges across, a broad swath of children?
Again, we talked about with the pandemic that we really have seen an increase in behavioral health concerns across the board in children. But what I also want to point out is that one research study showed that probably 70% of us indicated some effect of the pandemic. So maybe we didn't meet conditions for a diagnosable mental health concern that was interfering with our daily functioning. It was affecting us. So almost all of us were affected by this. What we have found is that individuals who are living in poverty, those who are living in stressful home life situations, those who were experiencing pre-pandemic mental health concerns are all more likely to be experiencing more difficulty since the pandemic has started. Additionally, what we have seen is that some kids who really rely on schedules and predictability have also had a little bit more difficulty during the pandemic, because a lot of that certainty that we experience with going to school and being with our friends has been removed for some time because of safety reasons. So those kids, maybe with some developmental disabilities or other conditions that really rely heavily on structure and predictability, have also struggled a little bit.
Okay, well, that gives me one idea of how you would answer this question, but I'll go ahead and ask it. What can we do to address this? So obviously there's many things that we can and should do, but for those that are watching our panel discussion today, what can we do systemically at school, at home, in the community? What ideas can you give us today?
I think the first thing we can do is start the conversation. Recognize that we all have mental health, and mental health is part of our overall health and well-being. And we need to start having conversations about that, just like we have conversations about physical health and eating right and sleeping right and those types of things. We need to start having conversations about that. We also need to get the word out a little bit more, and we need to meet, especially the children, where they are, being in their school systems, being in their primary care doctor's offices, being in their boys and girls clubs or their athletic events. We need to get the message out there, again, that our mental health is part of our overall health and well-being, and it's okay to ask for help. So we really need to cast a wider net, reach more broadly, and start the conversation.
All right. I wanted to end the panel discussion on a lighter, kind of playful idea, which is play and fun. Something that I am thinking more about myself as an adult. Like, what do I like to do for fun? Do I set aside time to do this, even prioritize time to do it? I think I should, and I think it's probably more important now than ever. So I'd like to get some final thoughts from each of you on the role of fun in play in a child's life and how it affects their development and overall health. So Maria, I'm going to start with you. Is it important for kids to think of eating as fun? You talked about it as fueling their body like they would a car, but is it something that, you know, comes with rewards and makes them feel good, and that we can position in a way that, you know, makes it feel more fun and playful? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so one of my favorite sayings is that food is our friend, right? So really allowing, the fuel that we put in our body, embracing it, knowing that I ask a lot of my body each day. And so I want to be able to nourish it, right? Going back to that mindset that food is fuel, and I want to nourish my mind and my body. So we have to remember food's our friend, and we want to keep it fun. And so no matter what the age of the child is, right? Getting familiar with the food groups, right? What are the 5 food groups? My fruits, my vegetables, my grains, my protein and dairy, right? Having a good grasp on that and knowing that each food group is going to do something different for my body, right? That's the cool thing about food, is knowing that each aspect of it is going to nourish my body in a different way. Sometimes it just tastes really good, right? And that's okay, because food is fun and enjoyable. It brings us together, whether we're cooking with somebody, whether we're sitting down for a mealtime with friends and family, whatever it may be. There's lots of aspects that go into mealtime, preparing the food, whether we're thinking about a snack time before we go on a run, or we're working to have a good feeling breakfast before we take a test, whatever it is, knowing that food is going to help fuel me in lots of ways. So we always say, keep it fun, interact with your food, especially if we do have picky eaters, whatever it is, get used to it. Think, what color is this? What does it taste like? What does it look like? What does it smell like? Right? And being open-minded to all those things. So yeah, that's a fun question.
Yeah, food is our friend. That's very important to remember. Okay, Dr. Stewart. As you know, at Girls on the Run, we incorporate physical activity, not just in the form of running, but in the form of games designed to reinforce the lessons we're teaching. So how do you think playing a game or having fun can contribute to a child's overall development, particularly a game that involves physical activity?
First of all, fun. Anytime we're having fun, it makes us feel better, right? And so when we're physically active, I feel it myself when I actually do a workout, or I'm, getting my heart rate up, I feel better. And that lasts not just at that time, but it lasts me several hours, or it can even last me all day. So if we can incorporate games and the kids are having fun, they're going to, one, exercise longer, be more physically active for longer, rather than the feeling like it's a chore. And then they don't even realize they're getting those benefits of exercise we discussed earlier without even knowing it. So I think the good concept is it's really important that adults can help with some organized games. Let's facilitate them having fun, and hopefully the kids will take over. But this is also very important, a concept of free play. Kids need time to have free play, and that means that they can choose what they're going to do. Of course, there's benefits of it being outside and being active. Do they choose to ride a bike? Do they choose to go to a playground? Do they choose to, make up a game, play Foursquare? That involves creativity, involves problem solving, teamwork, working with their siblings or friends in the neighborhood. How do we work together to, pretend or make up games and that sort of thing. So, and that's all healthy and encourages, mental health as well.
Great. So we've got food as our friend and free play. Okay, Dr. DeWitt, we'll turn to you for the closing word. Does fun and play help nurture resiliency? And if so, how?
Absolutely. So first, let me say that play is really the foundation for learning for our kids. That's really where it all starts, is through their play. There are countless benefits of exercise and physical activity that we talked about. And one of the key coping tools that we talk about with our youth and with ourselves is taking care of yourself, refueling yourself emotionally and mentally, just like physically, nutritionally, doing things that you love to do. And so I think that's where fun fits in. And I think it needs to be a priority in our busy lives each day, that we use that coping tool of taking care of ourselves, finding the positives, and fueling our emotional spirit as much as we do our physical health.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. DeWitt. Thank you, Dr. Stewart. And thank you, Maria, for participating in the panel today. Great discussion. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tracy Mallory, and I have here with me
Ava.
And this year, I am honored to be the chair of our board of directors, where each of us has made a commitment to rise above in our giving. We hope you have enjoyed celebrating with us the strong, courageous women and girls in our community, and have been inspired to rise above in your giving as well. If you feel led, please join us now and text RISE to the number at the bottom of the screen. Here's to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, may we raise them.
Thanks again for supporting Girls on the Run.